If you ever wanted to tour the country with your family in an RV, I want to tell you, you should go for it. This trip has been so much fun. We are at El Malpais National Monument in New Mexico, and we just did a huge hike a couple miles out to the top of a volcano. Echo's amazing at the Grand Canyon. See if you can pick it up. Echo! This trip has been a dream come true. This 1998 RV that I fixed up and upgraded actually got us around the country. We had an awesome time and it was filled with adventure, great family time, and even fixing things that broke. My greatest fear was actually that we would break down somewhere in the middle of nowhere, but thankfully, all the issues we faced, I was able to fix them, so that didn't happen. In this video, I want to show you what it was like for us and show you how the RV did in case this is something you're thinking about doing. To get ready for this trip, I did things like add a new battery system, 1200 watts of solar. I even made a custom cutout for this portable air conditioner that EcoFlow sent me to use on this trip. And I brought a boatload of tools in case anything would break. We drove from Pennsylvania to Nevada and back for almost a month. And yes, all 7 of us slept, ate, showered, and lived in this bus the whole time. And driving it around was actually much easier than I had feared. This thing is 38 feet long, but really the only issue we had with driving it was at our first big stop at the St. Louis Arch and finding parking in the city. But after a stressful hour of getting the runaround, we found a spot, and funny enough, we could see the RV from the top of the arch. There it is right there. But other than at Yellowstone, where we rented a minivan, we had no issues driving or parking this big RV. It was actually fun to drive this, and I love how much room there is up here. It's like you're sitting in this big lazy boy chair, and you have this grand view out this big window, and you're high up off the ground. Since we're pretty much self-contained in here, we could stop wherever we want and go check things out. Like we stopped at the Petroglyph National Monument in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and got caught in a surprise hailstorm a mile away from any shelter. And we loved hiking into the Grand Canyon, but we didn't love what happened when we were walking back to the RV. So there was this innocent elk about ready to walk past us, and of course I had my phone out to film until... Yep. It ran right at me and I had to dive behind a tree to get protection. Later we learned that there was a baby elk farther back that we couldn't see. Most of the trip we boondocked at night. This means that you're parked somewhere without being connected to electricity or water. I'm so glad we had the solar and battery storage because it enabled us to keep the fridge, microwave, induction cooktop, and everything else powered so we can live off grid.
So we're here at the Petrified Forest, getting lunch, using a microwave, running the water, doing all kinds of things. And the nameplate rating on the solar panels is 1.2 kilowatts, and you can see we're almost getting that where we're at and how we're parked with those panels flat on the roof. We need to charge up our batteries to get them up to 100% so that we can boondock tonight and then have power, as much power as we need all night. You can see the microwave is going 1.83 kilowatts, and the 2 fridges. So we're using a lot of power right now, but once we go on our hike, we should be able to keep charging that up.
So whether we were driving down the road or out on a hike, the solar panels kept generating power for us. Now thankfully we didn't have any big solar repairs, but I did find that I had to mess with one of the inline fuses because there was a loose connection. But I definitely had to fix a few things, like erratic or no power to the instrument panel, our TV broke, and we would sometimes lose our headlights, so we had to drive during the day until I could get it fixed. I'm so thankful that someone online posted schematics of this RV's electrical system, so with it I was able to figure out that there was a bad relay that was causing the problem with the instrument panel, and there was a short circuit on the headlight connector, so I bought a temporary switch at the hardware store and was back in business. And I suspected with the TV that it needed to have the internal ribbon cables reseated, so I took it apart, put it back together, and thankfully the image came back. My favorite thing about this whole trip was the family time, and it's so easy to overlook. Hiking miles into the Grand Canyon with my daughters was especially fun.
Bye, Grand Canyon. We'll see you again someday, hopefully.
It was also great to see, from safe distances, so many unique animals.
I can see it now.
And there's a reason why many people go to Yellowstone. There are so many amazing things to see.
That's really hot.
Impromptu stops were also fun. For example, we stopped at an Air Force museum and at the Golden Spike National Monument, where 2 sides of the Transcontinental Railroad joined up, and they have a working 1880s train replica.
And something that I had really wanted to see was a piece of the Cold War in South Dakota. Right off the interstate, there's this nondescript fenced off area. In here is a decommissioned Minuteman II nuclear missile, and it's really weird to think that this was super close to the highway. One of the best things about having an RV is you can stop pretty much anywhere you want for the night. Now, we'd get permission if we needed to, but having the freedom to come and go, no need to pack or unpack or set up a tent, and especially for us having a child that has significant dietary restrictions, having our own kitchen was nice. Now, we stayed at so many great places, but this one spot on a hill just outside of the Badlands National Park was amazing. We joined a number of other RVs and parked right along the edge. In addition to the fridge that's in the RV, we brought a portable fridge with us because the space just wasn't enough. But it was great because the kids at any time, they could just reach inside and get a drink. Having two freezers also meant that we could have ice cream whenever we wanted. For example, when we went to Mount Rushmore, they parked our RV literally steps from the entrance. And it was very hot that day, so when we came back to the RV, we opened the windows, we busted out all the ice cream, and everybody was happy. Not only do we get to see many national parks, we got to do things like drive down the Las Vegas Strip on a Saturday night. We had just watched Ocean's 11, so everybody wanted to see the fountain at the Bellagio. And I thought we were going to miss it, but there was so much traffic, we actually got to see the show. Another special part to this whole trip was the great people we were able to visit along the way. So Ben from Minuteman Prep got to host us, and it's been great getting to hang out with him. Thank you so much for hosting us.
Absolutely.
We are on our way to Yellowstone next. So this is what it looks like when you do battery reviews and you have a whole bunch of these power stations.
You have to buy shelves to stack them all up, just so you can keep testing them.
Ben and I had a great time connecting over solar, batteries, and running a YouTube channel. I think this RV was originally designed for two people to live in, so we had to make some adjustments to make it all work for us. Like we put in a second couch, which is also a bed. I mentioned having an extra fridge was really helpful, and in the bathroom, where I think there originally used to be a washing machine, we put a shelf system in for holding all of the clothes. Here's what our RV fridge looks like. The plastic actually broke on the trip, so we had to duct tape that on there. But just take a look at this. There's just not a whole lot of room in this thing for a family of 7. Now, something I didn't know when I first got an RV is that the fridge in here does not have a compressor in it. It uses heat to cool everything down inside. It's called an absorption fridge. So it either uses a heating element or it burns propane. Now, this type of fridge that's running off electricity is not as efficient as one with a compressor. For example, your fridge at home might use half the electricity that this one does. But this portable fridge and ones like it are more efficient because they have a DC compressor. This one's called the Glacier, and it's got some unique features that make it helpful for trips like this. Like you can use it with 2 cooling zones or just one if you pull out the divider. But its coolest thing is that it has a built-in ice maker. So it also comes with a cool smartphone app. When the ice is ready, it will send a push notification to my phone saying that it's ready. You can also get a battery with the Glacier, which means it can run independently from the grid as well as charge from a solar panel. We put a lot of miles on this thing, and I had heard that RVs get bad fuel economy, but that diesel does better than gas. But overall, I thought this diesel engine did pretty good. So with all of our stuff, 100 gallons of fresh water and a full tank of diesel, which is about 100 gallons, we averaged about 10 to 11 miles per gallon. And thankfully, since about a year ago, diesel prices have almost dropped in half, and we were able to get close to $3 per gallon. And with over a 1,000-mile range, we were able to plan our route and our fill-ups so that we could get the best prices. One of the things that didn't work before the trip was the dash air conditioner. It's basically the same as in your car, and I had no idea what was wrong. A friend and I worked on it, and we kind of got the air a little bit cooler, but I ran out of time before our trip. And I was worried that the cabin area here would just get too hot because with these big windows, it's kind of like a greenhouse in here. So that's when EcoFlow offered me that portable unit, and I figured with the modestly cool air coming from the front and the portable unit in the back, we'd have enough. And actually, when we had both running, it worked well to keep the cabin cool. And in case you're wondering, I didn't want to use the front rooftop AC unit if I didn't need to because it uses a lot of power. But this thing's pretty cool. It's called the Wave 2. It can be a portable air conditioner or a portable heater or just a fan. It can come with a 1 kilowatt-hour battery that it clips onto. We never used the heater function, but it was super handy to keep the cabin cool while driving or at night in the back bedroom where it was hotter, either as a fan or with the air conditioning. You can also use the smartphone app with the Wave 2 over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And since we didn't have heat on our trip, I wanted to test out the heat now. So I just set it to the maximum temperature of 86 degrees Fahrenheit. It's on the heat setting, and I'll turn up the fan. and then we'll measure it. All right, so on the app it says the air outlet temperature is about 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's test it with the thermal imaging camera. And I have it set to show me whatever the maximum temperature is, and you can see this red dot that's jumping around. It says the maximum temperature is 114 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is very similar to what the app was reporting. So it's pretty cool how small and portable this is. It is a 5100 BTU air conditioner and a 6100 BTU heater. So it's not for big spaces, for smaller spaces. And it's also great that you can hook up a solar panel directly to it to charge up the batteries.
So if you're interested, both the Wave 2 and the Glacier are on sale right now for Prime Day, and I also have some discount links below.
To cool down a big space like this RV, the manufacturer put in 2 air conditioners over 13,000 BTU each on the roof. Since we boondocked most of the nights and it wasn't too hot, we ended up not using them. But I was ready to, and I had these soft start devices that I was going to install if I was going to. What these things do is reduce the huge spike in required current when the compressor first starts. So for example, if you were at a campsite that only offered 30 amp service and you had big air conditioners like mine, you could install one of these on each air conditioner and then run both under 30 amps. So if you're gonna hook this up, you do have to wire them in, but if you don't want to wire them in, you can get the kind that has the plug-in directly. But if you can wire them in, you have that ability, this is going to be a much better solution.
We were planning to sell this RV after the trip was over, but it was so much fun, I think we'll keep it for another adventure. I'd love to help if I can. Post any questions down below, and if you want to see a video about me working on this RV, check it out over here. And if you have any suggestions for any future RV videos, post them down below. It's yelling at me to get my ice. Want some ice?